Hey there, Rover. Feeling a bit down right now. A bit bummed because you didn't get into the CBT2. Well, get up, Rover. Now's your time to get better, and I have the solution for you. Good. Now, if you want to kill some time that isn't being sad while watching everyone else enjoy the CBT2, potentially spoiling you on some story, and knowing that we still have to wait many more months until something else comes along, here are some recommended games you can play now. That way you can be an action-dodging hack-and-slash ARPG master by the time Wuthering Waves announces their next public-related play session. Many of you may be new to this genre of game where combat is the primary directive of the game. So, these games are my personal picks and I think they will help you get used to the kind of combat that you can expect from Wuthering Waves, along with bringing you an all-around great gaming experience you all should have under your belts. I'll leave some timestamps to make your life easier too because this is gonna be a long one. Keep in mind though, these are AAA to just full-on games with an actual ending and a goal in mind, no gacha, no evolving, huge region and character additions over long periods of time. So that means the experience in gameplay will vary, but the main combat ideas are still within the same scope, so you can have transferability between games. So, things like your ability to be more cognizant of enemy movements and patterns, reaction timing for dodges and parrying, as well as ideas that revolve around long combo strings both on ground and in air. This is lastly just my opinion too, so if you have any other games that are sort of similar or disagree, then leave those thoughts in the comments so maybe I can kill some time too, since I also didn't get in. So let's start. Granblue Fantasy Relink. One of the most recent and newest titles on the gaming market right now is Granblue Relink. The series started back out in 2014, so you can find a lot of history tied up if you ever decide you want to look a little bit deeper into Granblue. But it is now here again in 2024 with a big bang, sprouting some wonderful visuals and fast and fun combat. The game has a demo out on PS5 and I would highly recommend it if you're unsure if you might like it. It's an action RPG that centers around a party of 4 characters, with you controlling one of 20 plus, they could always add more DLC characters, uniquely styled characters all hailing from the decade-long series. There's a plethora of roles which you can play, from far-range gunslinger, leaping dragoon, or sidestepping dual wielder. I probably have the least experience with this game, but the limited experience I have had has been overall really positive, with my favorite being the tiny but mighty Yodara. While limited on experience on this game, it's still worth a shot for you to at least try the demo to see if you jive with it. Next up is Bayonetta, a classic series in the action hack-and-slash space. I don't think I need to introduce the heartthrob that is Bayonetta, but if you don't know her, instead of me telling you about her, let me show you her instead.
I feel like a fucking celebrity in this town.
She's clocking in at number 4 here because of how combo-oriented the game is, with higher currency rewards being reserved for those who can master her combo systems. Not only that, the witch time, perfect dodge, and access to parries relatively early in the game through the skill upgrades can give nice practice. But hell, even if you didn't want to practice for Wuthering Waves like a nerd, you can get through the game via typical button mashing. But you'll have a difficult time since some of the enemies and stages do not fuck around, especially in Bayo 1. So be warned if that's the path you decide to go down. It does span across 3 games, with my personal opinion of the first 2 being the best of the series in regards to combat feel and overall look of everything. Bayonetta 1 I believe is the most technical, but most rewarding if you put time in, and Bayonetta 2 gives a more grandiose feel with the access to her Umbran climax. But all 3 are solid action game picks that are all great foundations in the action genre. Next is the Devil May Cry series. Devil May Cry is yet another classic game series, with it setting the stage for a lot of what we see in so many games today. Virgil really has a lot of child support to pay considering how many kids have his style of katana-wielding badassery. It certainly deserves not only your attention, but respect for what this series has contributed to the action hack-and-slash gaming space. The series can offer you everything you would want in an action-oriented game, sporting flashy ridiculousness that will leave you awe-inspired to split a bike in half and use it as a weapon. This game is like the pioneer of not only this genre, but aerial combat demon juggling. And if you want to get the hang of that in preparation for someone like Ling Yang, then this is absolutely the best game to do so. In my opinion, DMC 4 and 5 are probably the best combat-oriented ones, with 4 having more technicality to it if you want to go deep dive mechanically, while 5 is more easily accessible. That doesn't mean 5 isn't complex in its own way, but that's neither here nor there. Both are great plays if you want more current DMC action game goodness. Also, the stylish clips you've been watching will be provided in the pin/description. They're a jackpot out of 10 games. Except 2. We don't talk about DMC 2. The next one is Astral Chain, the underdog and underrepresented platinum title that was released on the Switch in 2019. Man, I feel old. Still waiting for that sequel, Platinum. What the fuck, man? What the fuck? What the fuck? This game is one of my absolute favorites in concept, general design, sick-ass prog metal music, and of course the flashy and smooth combat. You can expect fun and intense fights in this futuristic and very stylized game. The interesting aspect of this game is how you basically have JoJo stands, aka legions, to fight with you, which you can control to help with combos and combo finishers, and it's one of the coolest game mechanics in this genre of game. They function akin to Bayonetta and DMC's kind of expanded weapon arsenal, on top of the main character's personal weapons of the heavy gladios, standard baton, and blaster, which all serve specific functions in combat. The awesome kind of parallel that can be made with Wuthering Waves too is that legions could be seen as potential ways in which you may interact with echoes, as they too act as extensions to the gameplay Wuthering Waves offers. They can be used to extend combos or set up certain ones, so I guess on that end maybe you'll really start to get a kind of feel for the pseudo echo system in Astral Chains. Either way, if you have a Switch, this game is a must play. And I guarantee that some more years down the line, you'll see this game and grin devilishly at knowing you had the honor of experiencing such a fun, sick-ass action-packed game. Punishing Gray Raven. You thought this would be number 1, didn't you? Kuro's other game, not number 1? What gives? You talk about this game all the time and even made a video praising its unique system. Why not? Well, before I tell you, let me tell you this game is worth your time. Great combat experiences that are fast-paced and challenging, smooth and responsive controls, available on PC and mobile with banger after banger soundtracks, wonderfully generous gacha system. This game deserves the attention. If you did give it attention, it's probably because of the popular clips of Alpha Crimson Weave or Lee Hyperreal, and it sort of just ended at that. Hopefully with Wuthering Waves it can get a little more love now. But why is this not number 1? Well, PGR is a separate experience where combat is the game. Yes, you play for the narrative of how humanity survives the punishing, and it is very good. But at the end of the day, PGR is a game which is striving to be one thing: a shining example of smooth, flashy, fast, sometimes difficult, and just badass combat experiences. It thrives the most on the combat and bosses. Wuthering Waves has a wider net cast, with it being open world and potentially more heavily focused on narrative beats, character interactions, and seamless world building in a live service expanding open world context. It has partial focus on all the things mentioned in PGR, fast and smooth combat, but it has the added complexity and problems of appealing to more than just one set audience. That means they need to account more to the casual player and blur the lines a bit more between an open world AAA game and a gacha live service game. Like, yes, something similar to what Genshin Impact does in how they cater their experiences. But that is why it's at the 2nd spot and not 1, but I highly recommend playing this game all the same. Being a day 1 player, let me be honest with you though, early game is grindy and a bit rough. Things won't start to blossom until later, but it's a marathon, not a race. You can incorporate PGR into your daily gacha-addicted routine I know you all have. If you do play, this game will extra prepare you for how Kuro specifically will style enemies, bosses, modifiers, and even potential story connections if Wuthering Waves is connected to PGR. Before I move on to the number 1 pick, I gotta bring up a special upcoming game that is on the horizon, Stellar Blade. I don't know much about it other than booty, skin-tight clothing, amazing combat, and the first 2 things making modern-day Puritans mad. I feast on their tears. It's an anticipated game for me as I love booty, tatas, and fast action gameplay, so if you like literally all of those things, then maybe this will be for you when it comes out April 26. It's made by the same devs who brought you the visual gem that is Nier 2.
Oh, Ooh. Oh my god!
It gets the added benefit of being just a normal-ass game, which is, stupidly enough, becoming harder and harder to find these days. Anyway, on to the top spot. Hang on, so I lied. So this actually isn't a part of the script that I had planned out and everything. This is actually way after the fact. I found this game called AIKODE. It's an action RPG with life simulation elements, and it is solo developed. There's a trailer for it. I'm gonna stick a link to it also in the comment section. You need to check it out. It looks so cool. There's no date yet, but I think you can wishlist it on Steam. It looks amazing. Go check out this developer and this game. I'll put a link to their Twitter too. It looks awesome. I have to give this a shout out too because it's not talked about enough, I don't think, at all. So just throwing this out there. Check out this game too. Anyways, moving on. Nier Automata. Yes, the hood classic Nier Automata. If you don't know 2B by now, I think you're living under a rock or you're an alien, as she and the general Nier title itself has been featured in literally over 20 collaboration efforts. One of those collaborations being with PGR itself, which, fun fact, PGR is heavily inspired off of Nier Automata, having even one of their main artists design one of their characters, Bayonetta. Grey Raven Radio actually did a cool little interview with her, and you should check it out. Check the description or comments for the video if you're interested. Anywho, Nier is at the #1 spot because of how closely inspired Wuthering Waves is to it. Kuro loves the game, and I feel like Wuthering Waves is actually the biggest homage to this game by implementing all of the lessons learned over time through punishing Grey Raven. Nier has amazing combat that is fast and fluid, revolving around the light and heavy attacks with your pod acting as an additional extension, along with a plethora of other weapons. Nier has really cool approaches to the genre that we've never really seen before with how seamless it can transition to different camera angles, making fights feel totally different. Most are the usual third-person normal camera work, but it also will transition from 2D left and right only plane fights to sometimes top-down to focus on the bullet hell genre combo that Nier adds. And it's still just so unique, and I still haven't seen any other ARPG game use this kind of technique to give diverse feels to fights that still have you using your Nier combat kit, while also simultaneously providing a new way to show off environments catered to each fight. I haven't talked much story in all these games either, but Nier Automata's story is second to none in making you want to cry existential tears of fear. That aspect is another thing that I see paralleled in PGR, and I hope we see this level of storytelling and profound need to tell deeper messages in Wuthering Waves. Nier is a more modern classic for a reason, and I think it's the best game that fits the bill of comparison between Wuthering Waves, and I believe Nier can give us a more accurate assumption on what the final version of Wuthering Waves will offer. Not Genshin or PGR. Not only in the combat experience, but also in the world that is built and explored, and the fact that Kuro takes huge inspiration from it. You won't regret playing this game to kill some time if you didn't get into CBT2. I can't recommend this game enough, and apparently neither can Kuro. So in summary, here are the games: Granblue Fantasy Relink, Bayonetta, Devil May Cry, Astral Chain, special shoutouts to upcoming games, Stellar Blade and AIKODE, and my personal top 2 games, Punishing Grey Raven, and lastly, Nier Automata. These games I believe will not only just be fun and engaging experiences, but they will also allow you to hone your gamer senses so that you won't come into Wuthering Waves as a skill-issued noodle. These style of games too are relatively short as well, so you don't need to worry about long investments of 100 or 200 plus hour game files. The ballpark average is somewhere around 20 to 30 hours at a normal pace. We're all unsure as to when the Wuthering Waves beta will end as of me recording this, so it could be up for who knows how long. So I would highly urge you to try out some of these games if you just kinda wanna not think about it because it pains you that you missed out. As I said before, the link to some of the videos like the combo videos and Nier artist DK Ground and her interview with Grey Raven Radio are all below. Check them out and give them some love. In the meantime, I appreciate you. Thank you for letting me take your time, and be safe out there.